Hello again. I'm guessing that I'm not the only person to notice that whenever ordinary people have had enough of something in modern Britain and make their feelings known, there's an excellent chance they're being described in news reports as right-wing extremists. If a schoolgirl is molested by an asylum seeker living in a local hotel and concerned parents gather to picket the place, they are sure to be dismissed as members of a far-right group. This is all typical of a pattern which we see time and again in this country, lately at least, by means of which anybody who objects to the presence of asylum seekers in their village, or having transvestites initiating under fives into the world of cross-dressing, or who are tired of the endless round of stabbings in Britain's cities, is automatically described as belonging to the far right. I need hardly add that I have a horse in this particular race, because I'm often described in this way myself as being of the far right. I can never decide whether or not those who are dedicated to having this channel removed from YouTube are utterly obtuse and deliberately misunderstand simplest statements, or if, on the other hand, they are really enormously cunning and understand perfectly well what they are doing. On balance, I do not think anybody could be as stupid as they represent themselves to be, of which more later. I suppose this is very similar to the way in which strikers and those who demanded free childcare and various other things in the 1970s were routinely dismissed as communists. So there is nothing new about what we are now observing. It makes for a very simple and uncomplicated world if we can divide it up in this binary way, with sensible people like us on the one hand, with all those who oppose us being cast as dangerous fanatics. It has the effect of making us feel that we're on the right side of history. This is, I suspect, what motivates journalists and politicians to work up a fear about these so-called right-wing extremists. For my part, I would regard someone who's determined to invite a flamboyant homosexual transvestite to the local library to display his particular fetish to little children as being an extremist. But it is, of course, those who gather outside the library to protest who are likely to be cast in the role of the extremists. Increasingly, any kind of opposition to anything involving immigration, homosexuality, sex changes, and so on will lead, as night follows day, to the expression far right being bandied about. I'm aware that this channel is described by some as being far right, and I've even seen it being suggested that I'm a neo-Nazi. This kind of thing is so nuts that it makes one's head spin. Here I am, a man who lived for years in Israel, who prays in mosques and wears around his neck at all times his name in Hebrew. How likely is it, do you think, that I would be a neo-Nazi or an anti-Semite or even particularly right-wing? Not at all is, of course, the answer. That being so, I think we can safely assume that those who accuse me of being a neo-Nazi or an extreme right-winger do not really believe it for a moment, but are making the accusation simply because they think that some of the mud will stick if only they sling enough of it. As I say, these things go in cycles, and a few years ago it was communists and fellow travellers that people were being warned about. These days you seldom hear of this particular menace, and it's all about the alt-right. I enjoy watching these trends and seeing how things swing from one extreme to the other, and it is to be hoped that I shall still be around and making YouTube videos when the pendulum swings back again, and I will be seen as the most normal and sane of men, the people to watch out for by that time being those pesky Marxists again.